I'm going to open up the meeting with the general announcement that we are holding this special meeting of the School Building Committee under the auspices of the Governor's executive orders. As such, all votes will be taken by roll call, and the meeting is being recorded. So, please don't say anything your mother wouldn't want you to, say or something like that. You know what I mean? Because anybody could be listening, including press or whatever. So. But with that all said, I'm going to open the meeting and note that we do have a quorum present for Catherine Rose's sake. Thank you for being here, by the way. I'm going to just read off the roster here as far as who's present, as far as voting members go. We do have several ex officio members here and staff members. So Greg Balassi, myself, obviously, Christine DeStasio from the Board of Ed, Greg Carabine, Kristen Talley, Jerry Martin, and Bill Hull right now are the voting members that are present. There's two numbers that I do not recognize that I guess are call-ins that end in 7603 and 8443. Just so you know, most of this meeting will be held in executive session, and when that happens, I will be putting you in the waiting room. The only people that are going to be allowed to attend, I believe, assuming this doesn't change, are the voting members, the ex officio members, and some of the staff that we need to conduct business. So, or that have some professional input in what we're doing. So, I'm going to ask for a motion that we go into executive session per the, let me explain. So I did talk to counsel, and then I was waiting for an answer from Mike Driscoll, and I just decided to start doing some research on my own. So I came up with a bunch of the stuff in the FOI Act, which is kind of long when you start getting into it, that was applicable to this situation. I sent that on to Mike just to save him some trouble, and he concurred with my opinion regarding it, and doesn't have a problem with the language on our agenda. So it just so everyone knows we're all on the same page. Basically, part of a bid process like this, an RFQ or RFP, that can be all that information that's generated out of the documents, like the interview questions that we're going to talk about, can be held in may not be disclosed or don't have to be disclosed. So, and there's and those pieces are listed as this proper format for an executive session. So we're all nice and legal, as far as that goes. So what I'm going to ask for is a motion that we go into executive session to go over the interview questions that were developed by the working group. I'm going to ask that the motion allow for the ex officio members and staff, including Bob Saprensky, Bob Castronova. I think Matthew, I don't know if Matthew Brown is an ex officio or if you're Matt, or if you're just NPS staff or whatever, but we'll include you too, because I'm looking for as much professional expertise in this as possible. So if someone could please make that motion, please.
Mark, Bill Hull, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Jerry Martin, second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll do the roll call vote of the voting members, and I'm just going to do them off the screen as they're sitting up here now. Greg Balassi?
Yes.
Christine DeStasio?
Yes.
Greg Carabine?
Yes.
Kristen Talley?
Yes.
Let's see, Jerry Martin?
Yes.
And Bill Hull?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. Catherine, you can stay with us also. So, but though there won't be any minutes taken during the executive session, I'm only saying this so that you can stay with us for when we come out of executive session. We'll still need you. All right.
Voting at all during it, or no?
No, we're not doing. We won't take any notes or anything during the executive session.
All right, thank you.
All right, and but I'm going to move a couple of bodies to the waiting room. And let's see, so we got Chris LaRose here too from NPU, who's an ex officio. Let's see, and that's good. So we're in good shape. So we have some people that have some experience in doing this kind of work, obviously. I'm going to put up the draft and share that on the screen. So, okay. So we did this. So the basically, there's of course there's two pieces. Obviously, there's the interview questions and the format of the interviews that have come up. So that we discussed in the working group, and Lisa and Bob Castronova had a lot of input on this. Obviously, somebody who has some idea of what he's doing in these things, and we came up and batting the ball around, so to speak. We came up with a solution. Part of the thing was, I'll explain some reasoning. We had considered actually breaking the interviews down into a couple meetings and having them go longer, but then that would have been harder for us, I think, to gauge what was going on rather than take them all in one shot and digest them, even though it'll be a fairly long meeting. But we thought they should be able to get the stuff in and answer the questions in a pretty short order. So if we do the 30, so we were thinking of a 30-minute presentation and 30 minutes for questions. Right now we're on these 8 questions that we thought, after going over stuff that was submitted by, the only ones I had submitted were from Bill and Peter Gauthier, who won't be with us tonight. Also, I forget to mention that. So we got this set of questions from out of that discussion. 4 people that the committee appointed, and Bob Shapinsky and myself. So I think it's a pretty rounded set of questions. We took some of the things and reworded and combined some concepts and whatever. So I haven't heard back. Obviously we weren't starting a discussion online. But I just will want some opinions from the group, I guess, as far as the interview questions, the way they sit, how people feel about them or whatever, and we'll move from there. Anybody got anything to say? Just go ahead. And Greg Carabine.
When we had the rating system to determine which firms we were going to interview with a criteria, are we going to develop a criteria to how to rate their responses?
That's a good question.
Oh, man.
That's a darn good question, though. I'm going to say, based on our experience with the rating system, it didn't really work out as well as I had hoped.
No, well, the rating system was very arduous, and the people that worked on it,
Yeah.
compliments. I'm just saying, if we're going to interview, they're going to give answers. How
Yeah.
are we going to determine which of the 3 gave the better answer?
It's really, these things, as you will know, are somewhat subjective.
Yes.
So we, what it'll be is a consensus of the group. So once we give, so we're going to do the interview, they're going to answer these questions. They're all going to answer the same questions, and they're all going to do their own presentation.
Right.
And then we're all going to have our opinion about what is going to be the, who's the best. Having done this before, I will tell you that, there's a lot of times a consensus that develops after, we've gone through this, especially in a group like this. There might be a couple of outliers. It's entirely possible that think, one's better than the other that doesn't go along with the majority, but there's usually a solid majority, once you get to the point. And so
Now,
it's not, I don't know if a calibration document would really work for this kind of thing.
no, I'm not asking for that. I'm just,
All right.
if we're gonna do basically an hour each firm,
Yeah, everybody's going to have their opinion, and we're going to, when we have the meeting to discuss who the winner is, so to speak,
okay,
then we'll hash that out amongst ourselves. And again, that'll be another thing that'll be, an executive session. So,
okay.
but that's where we're at. Christine?
Is there going to be a discussion after each candidate, though? Because so things aren't
I'm going to
forgotten.
say,
after
I'm going
you
to say
delegate.
no. Yeah, I'm going to say no because of the timing. Other than maybe if we have a few words and we have a little time in
Right.
between.
Okay, I just hope people take good notes then, as far as
Yeah.
the answers.
Right. So a lot of this is in consideration. A lot of firms have different types of experience, but we're looking for a particular job here. So for me, I'm more concerned with that. And in the presentation should be more, what I get a lot of times with these, people have a cookie cutter presentation that they do all the time or whatever, pretty much, and they don't necessarily tailor it that much to the job or to the group in question. So I would think a group that would have a leg up if they did that extra work and were actually tailoring it to our needs and our situation. Now they should do that to some extent, but the ones that do the best job of that usually are the ones that we'll see that are thought of a little better. So my opinion, of course.
And
Anything else, Christine?
yes, I was just wondering, the question that we had regarding if they'll have a dedicated team for our project. I know it was in the other questions, but I just think it might be worth to reiterate that in these interviews, just to make sure we have confirmation of that once again. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I know that's a very important aspect.
Yes, certainly, but that went into the ratings that got
Yeah,
these
I
people
know.
here. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I'm just hoping plus I
They
don't remember if
all, I
all of
think,
these had
you
a
know,
dedicated team.
Yeah, they all, scored to get to this point. They all would have to score pretty well there, based on their.
All right. It's just, I was just wondering because I think
if
something
you
like
have
that
a,
might
if you
be
have a
worth
specific,
mentioning again.
if you have a specific question you want to suggest, I'm all ears though.
I'll try to put one together.
All right. See if you can do that now.
Yeah.
Does anyone else got anything to say?
Mark,
Gregory?
I do.
All right, Kristen, we'll do. You haven't talked yet.
Just because there was a concern around the Tecton firm in regards to,
Peter had that concern, yeah.
yeah, and honestly, like while, even myself, they rounded out higher, that one particular area of demonstrating understand of the work, was a low rating. So is there a way like on number 6 where we could add verbiage to it at the end, something to the effect of knowing that this project encompasses 9 schools, like kind of pulling that out of them to demonstrate to us that they understand that they're going to be, working.
All right, do you want to add the words knowing that this project encompasses 9 schools?
Something to that effect, because I think for that particular firm, like to drive home, that you didn't really demonstrate that key piece to us while you rated highly, like.
Yeah, that is a general enough question that we can ask all of the people. That's the problem when we get to this point, is the interview questions have to be applicable to everyone.
Correct.
Yeah. So knowing that this project encompasses 9 schools, if contracted with service, excuse me, how will your firm craft a proposal that can successfully pass a referendum? That work?
Works for me. I'll defer to the rest.
No, that sounds good. I think it's an improvement of the question, actually. Anyone
Yeah, but if
else?
this goes, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. Excuse
Sure.
me for being me. when we, yeah, never mind. I answered my own question. Thank you.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I've done that more than once. Anyone else have anything to say about these? Wants to add some? Christine, how you doing?
I'm working on it right this second.
Okay, we'll give it some time. So,
Oh, it's coming to me now, Mark. Another one.
We know that in-
Remember when the finance lady talked to us and told us about selling the project and referendum was easier probably to do in pieces than one huge piece?
yep. I think that's where we'll be at anyway. So,
Okay,
more than likely.
that's just my concern. I mean, I have no beef with any way they want to word the questions. It's just, I just like that concern addressed, that's all.
All right, let's see if something like that fits in here. Well, while in thinking about that briefly, the problem is that, well, that's a valid question. As we go along, that'll be something that needs to be answered. I don't think it's applicable to this stage of the project. So it would only be, because we're only talking about the master plan essentially here. So we're not, and we're not even talking about referendum at this point. So the first phase of the project, once we go to put shovels in the ground, will be a referendum. Whatever that first phase is, I figure it's a new school, but we just don't know at this point, until they come up with whatever it is. So, but that's, that's what it is. So I think we'd be jumping the gun if we added something in there now on that. So as far as even talking about referendum, but that's something, when we go to if we go to contract with them for the service, then that's a discussion we'd have to have with them. And then maybe we'd be actually going out for another bid for that service and the design of the project. So, because, we've done that before. Because this is one piece of it, then, Bob, you want to chime in, Casanova?
Yeah, and I made the same comment, Mark, when it was the four of us the other night, is really have to make sure that we focus on the tasks we've identified in this RFQ. I know we're all thinking down the road. We originally had some proposed questions that dealt with, design and things like that, but we're nowhere near there yet. Remember, this is all to get a plan in place to be able to submit to the state and get it approved. Okay. And until you do that, you can't even go to referendum. So you've got to do the studies. You've got to come up with the plan. You've got to do all this upfront work, which is not reimbursable by the state. So we're paying for this. We've got to get all this. So we really have to focus on what we've asked them to do in this RFQ, and not get off kind of down the road a ways.
Yeah, that's this, because it's so easy for me, and you guys see me go off on speeches and tangents enough times already, so that I'm liable to do that. The fact of the matter is we have to keep this one. We have to keep focus on the one task that really we're talking about here, which is the stuff that's listed in the RFQ. So that's really where it's about. But I will tell you right now, we still have to keep on the back of our mind the whole the whole big picture. So those are things we can't just throw that stuff away. But we don't want to be coming up with something that'll never pass anywhere. So not just a thought there. But for right now, we'd be way ahead of we'd be getting way ahead of ourselves if we tried to do anything more than deal with the tasks in the RFQ. So, any other questions, issues, or additions? All right,
This might be
Christine?
a little lengthy, and like I said, if you don't want to go with it, feel free.
All right.
This is just an example. We know that in order to reach the stage of the hiring process, you already answered this question, but we feel it is worth asking again specifically, how many people will be dedicated to this project, and what are their areas of expertise, and what will be their availability be to the building committee?
I don't think we need the first part of it.
Mark,
Go ahead, Greg.
I don't want them to think that we don't realize that they were asked this before, once already.
Greg? I mean,
That's
that exact information is in most of their proposals, though, or part of
Yes,
it.
I know,
Good
but
part
I
of it.
want to make sure, because I know a lot of times things are said and they're not followed through on. And they did vary in in all of the proposals.
Sure.
Only a couple really listed people specifically. And also the contact, some varied on whether there be a contact person or not. That was, a gray area on some of them.
One of them wanted the last place finisher wanted us to appoint someone to be a contact person for them.
I remember that.
They basically had the power of the committee, and I'm going, that ain't gonna work.
Mhm. I remember
That
that.
was funny. I read that. I'm going, what the heck is this? So, yeah, so the first part of that question is really unnecessary. The second part, I mean, we could include it, I guess. I think it's redundant, but
That's what I
don't
said.
know.
It is redundant, but I think it's too important, not to reiterate it again.
all right, what's everybody else say?
Hi, Mark, Bill Hull.
Bill?
I think it makes it look like you haven't read the proposals. So there's an old interview thing, don't ask a question that's sitting on a resume, when
Yeah.
you do HR work. And I think they've answered that. But you could probably follow it up under 3. How would you, your firm communicate with the building committee?
I think that
Follow
would
up
fit
with, how will your team communicate with the building committee? But I would hedge on not using that question.
there. Not maybe
Although
not
I
in
think
that
the
form.
information is important. I think that's a correct thing. But I would not put it in.
I'm gonna interject something here too. I'm gonna go at this from the firm's perspective. If I'm a firm, all right, you guys said something about the lowest place firm asking for a point of contact for the building committee. If I'm a firm that gets picked, I don't want 11 people on a committee each contacting all the.
No, that wasn't my point, though, Bob. That was they wanted
Yeah.
a person that had the authority of the committee.
All right, okay.
That was,
I think
no. This
I
should
think-
be a POC. Yeah, sure. Usually
Yeah.
it's the chairman, but the
Right. And I think on their side too, you could, I mean, like you said, in question 3, you can kind of, gauge, and hopefully in their presentations, they're gonna cover this too. Who's gonna be on
Yeah.
the team? But you also gonna want probably one principal in their firm to be your point of contact, so that if you have the committee or, we have concerns, you go to that person, you express the concerns or the needed information, want additional information or whatever it is. Again, so, I mean, what does dedicated mean? Does that mean they're only working on our proposal? Does that mean,
yeah.
you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? These are firms, they're going to be using subs.
Yeah, they're gonna be certainly assigned to more than one project at a time.
Right.
So,
So, I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand, Christine, what you're getting at, but on the other hand, it's almost like we're asking, you guys are going to be, basically, you're going to be working for us and that's it. No, I don't, no, I think they're going to have, they will have principal, they'll have
Mhm.
leads in each area, but they're also going to have junior people that are going to be doing work as well. So I guess the thing is, what are you really asking? What are you asking? What are you hoping to get out of that question? That's what you really got to ask yourself.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What What my concern is after watching what we went through with when Norwich Tech was rebuilt, was knowing that there's really are people vested that we know are fully responsible for the project. I understand there'll be numerous subcontractors and all that kind of thing, but I like kind of putting them on the spot as to who these specific people are. But I understand the perspectives from the firm's point of view and all that, like what Bill mentioned and everything. So, but like I said, it sounds like there's a consensus not to use it, so I'm fine with that. Some of you are more experienced at this than I am, that's for sure.
All right, Greg,
They can-
speaking
the
of someone
firms-
who's more experienced.
Yeah, the firm's already provided who's going to be the principal in charge.
They all didn't though. It didn't seem like it anyways.
When they come in to do this presentation, they've done this 1,000 times. They're going to say the partner, Mike Smith, is going to be the point of contact for the firm. They've already in the proposal said who the subs were. They've assigned who's going to work on it. You know, I don't see the need for that level of detail at the interview.
Yeah, I would certainly expect to see some of that information in the presentation. though.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, Mark, after I forgot if they were going to be doing a presentation at the beginning.
Yeah, so usually it's like a project manager or somebody like that, or they might have a salesperson that's doing the actual presentation, somebody that's good at that kind of stuff. And then a project manager with them or something like that, you know, or the architect or whatever that's going to be the lead. But, I mean, it's however they want to do it, I guess, but usually that's how it's going to work. Anybody else on this? Or on the 8 questions? On anything else regarding this? Or
Well,
will they
hearing none, I'll make a proposal that we accept it as.
Okay, now hang on. No, we can't do a vote in executive session anyway. So,
No, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
so
well,
yeah, so what it is we'll come out, and then once we come out, we'll just make I'm going to stop the share, obviously, and then we'll come out and I didn't turn off the recording, so I got to talk to Leon, make sure he cuts this out of the video, or Tony. So maybe I didn't turn on the thing. Hang on. So. Okay, never mind. It is recording. So we'll do. So what is, I'm going to put the other people, I'm going to readmit them. I'm going to stop the share here. Okay. And I'll readmit the people that are in the waiting room. And the first thing we'll do, I'll make a motion to come out of executive session. Someone will need to do that, noting that no votes were taken. Okay. And then once we do that, then we'll just make a vote that we approve take a vote that we approve the interview questions, and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Oops. Which is, I think, just setting up for the interviews. All right, we can get out of here in a reasonable amount of time. Hang on. Okay, so could I get a motion to come out of executive session, noting that no votes were taken?
Bill Hall, so moved.
Thank you.
Jerry Martin, second.
Thank you, Jerry, with the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll do roll call. Greg Balassi,
Yes.
Christine DeStasio,
Yes.
Greg Carabine,
Yes,
Kristen Talley,
Yes.
Bill Hall,
Yes.
Jerry Martin,
Yes.
and myself as a yes. All present and voting in the affirmative. We are out of executive session. Could I get a motion, please, to approve the questions as amended?
Bill Hall, so moved.
Thank you.
Second, Jerry Martin.
Any discussion? Well, we shouldn't, when there is no discussion on this one because of the nature of the disclosure. So we'll do the roll call. Greg Balassi,
Yes.
myself is yes. Christine DeStasio,
Yes.
Greg Carabine,
yes.
Kristen Talley,
Yes.
Bill Hull,
Yes.
Jerry Martin,
Yes.
all voting affirmative. So Catherine Rose, just so you understand, this will not go, the actual questions will not go in the minutes. They'll be withheld until such time as an actual selection is made and the person's under contract, just so you understand what's going on there. All right. So the next item on the agenda is scheduling and interview process. So Bob, have you been in touch with the three firms?
I have not yet. I wanted to wait till after this meeting and then,
Okay, it was quick enough, so.
Yeah.
All right, how about, well, you want to do them in reverse order from, on the finish, 3, 2, 1? How's everybody feel? What order do we want to do them in?
I don't think it makes any difference.
no, I don't think so.
No difference.
All right, so what order are we going to do them in? Still got to pick something.
Alphabetical.
Oh, okay, we'll go alphabetical. So what we got, DRA would be first probably then, JCJ, and then TechCon.
Yeah.
All right, sounds like a plan. I'm good with that. So schedule them. So the first one is 6:30. So we'll be running from 6:30 to 9:30. On this meeting, it'll be a fairly long one. We'll schedule that for our regularly scheduled meeting that that week. That should give everyone enough time on their end to prepare and set that up. So
So
get-
Mark, when is the
Yeah.
next scheduled meeting?
let me look at the old calendar.
May 18th.
Yes, you're correct. You're on the money, Greg. You're on the
That's my
money.
contribution.
Yeah, there you go. Right, like you said, May 18th, he said.
Okay, all right.
So, and we'll,
I will contact the firms tomorrow with the date and the time that we'd like them to,
yep, figuring the 1 hour
Yep.
time frame,
yep,
and that should give us everyone enough time. If the presentation runs earlier, whatever, that's fine. Then maybe we'll have some time to discuss the presentations afterwards. If not, we're good. We just move into the next one.
Where will this be?
At this point, I'm thinking we're still gonna be virtual until I know otherwise. So that's what I'm assuming. For the 18th of May, if it was the 20th, I could start making changes, I think. But I don't know. I think we need to have a discussion with the committee members, I think, regarding people's comfort level as far as, getting together and then I have to talk, because it's a large committee, I have to talk to the city manager about where we'd meet probably. And we probably have to do this in council chambers or something like that, something without enough space to do stuff. So
335.
that's not really ideal, because just because all the benches and stuff like that, you would have to try to lay them out for social distancing. You'd have to put the chairs in the court center there and try to do something like that. It would be a bit awkward. So, but I don't know. Like I said, I'll have that discussion with John. Greg Carabine.
I mean, the firms, if we're going to be interviewing them for this expensive contract, they're going to want to do it in face to face.
Yeah, I'm sure they would rather. I have no doubt.
And then if anyone's going to ask, you think we're doing the Zoom now? It's a little awkward. If anybody has not a follow-on question, but clarification, to try to do it on Zoom is going to be arduous. My recommendation would be find a place that we could do it socially distant. And then the firm is probably going to want audio-visual equipment. They're going to want to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will tell you right now, City Hall is not a good place for that right now.
Okay.
So they're not up to speed.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll have to talk to Kristen to the superintendent. I don't know, Jamie, I don't know, Jamie's here, you can maybe, or Bob Sapensky. I don't know if we could do something and keep people distance in the community room at Kelly. That would be the only other place I could think of that maybe you could do something like this.
Yeah, I
What
was
about the
going to suggest,
auditorium?
I was going to suggest that, Mark.
Yeah,
I think Kristen Talley mentioned it, but the auditorium holds 800.
yeah. No,
Hey,
obviously we could
that
do
Great
something there.
AV.
We could obviously do something there, but I mean, it's right across the hall from the community space, you know, so. But the part of the issue, like I said, is the AV stuff. It's a little, it might be a little easier for us to deal with, because I've run this stuff at Kelly myself in the community room. You know, as long as I got a hookup, man, I can throw it up on a laptop and put stuff up on the projector and whatever, so.
Well, we have a projector in the auditorium and we've used it for professional
Yeah,
development
I'm
throughout
sure.
the years. So it has everything you need plus the space.
Yeah, no, either one of those would be good. I know, it might be too big though, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Do you know? I mean, because it's.
That's a good problem with.
I know.
I mean,
But we'll
the
talk about it. Go ahead, Jamie.
screen there is pretty big, so no matter where you're sitting in the auditorium, you're able to see the presentation very well. So you also can, I don't know what you mean about too big, but you know, depending on how many people show up, you can kind of quarter it off where you want people to sit so they're not so spaced out, but that's what we do.
Okay. I think that, let's, Bob, I guess at this point, why don't we just say it a place to be determined, or a place, a situation to be determined, but the date and time is gonna, I think, be what we just said.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And then we'll,
Just have to nail that down, you know, I mean, not, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, but, you know, within.
within the next week.
So, yeah,
So I don't know, Jamie and Bob, if you want to talk to Kristen and see where, you know, where we could be at, what the best solution, what she thinks the best solution will be for that, or if you want me to reach out to her, I will.
Yeah, we can take care of that.
Okay, just get back to me if you would.
Sure.
All right, with that said, I don't think we got anything else to talk about. So a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Jerry Martin makes a motion to adjourn. The second, please. Everyone wants to stay. Oh, that's great. I'm so glad to see everyone wants to stay. Greg Carabine, the second. Roll call vote. Greg Bellassi.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Christine DeStasio.
Yes.
Greg Carabine.
Yes.
Kristen Talley, excuse me.
Yes.
Jerry Martin.
Yes.
And I think we're good. Bill Hull had to step out. So we're good. We'll stand adjourned at 7:10 p.m. And thanks everybody for coming. And we'll talk to you shortly. I'll let you know the final details and when we have them ironed out. Thanks. Bill, yeah, we're all set. We just adjourned. So you're good to go.
Mark, when's the interviews?
It'll be at our regular meeting, May 18th.
May 18th.
Yeah, we're not sure, and we're going to do them in alphabetical order. It'll be DRA, JCJ, and TechCon, TechCon, whatever it is. And then once I'm not sure what we're not sure where it's going to be, whether we're going to do it online or in person. We may be able to schedule something in probably maybe at Kelly. Or at either the community room or the auditorium was suggested, which might be a better idea. So where we have a good amount of space and can do the technical aspects, you know, putting stuff up or whatever, you know. So they got a big screen and all that stuff, huge screen. Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right, good enough. I'll be in touch. Take care.
All right, stay well.
Yeah, you too.